Hello, my name is Michael Hopkins and I am the grandson of Clive Branson. I'm sitting here today with Rosa Branson, his daughter. She's 93 years old. You will know Clive as an artist, but not only was he an artist, but he was a passionate political activist. He was a member of the Communist Party in the UK. And one of the stated aims of the Communist Party was the independence of India. Now, it's because of this political activism and Clive being posted to India that we have this book. This book is a published set of letters from Clive to his wife, Noreen Branson, and it documents the experiences that he had while in India. Now, the majority of this is all about his politics, his observation of the wonderful Indian people, about the hideousness of what the British Empire was doing to India and how they could help in the independence. But wonderfully, we get also some insight into his feelings about his art. In 1943, in April, he was posted to Ahmedabad. I hope I pronounced that correctly, which we find out in the book was where he was born 35 and a half years earlier. His father was a member of the British Empire, and the irony will not be lost that Clive's stated aim was to destroy everything about the empire. Now, through a number of events, shortly afterwards, he was in hospital with a fever. He was introduced to Kelkar, and immediately from the letters, we can see that his passion of painting, his friendship with Kelkar shines through this. And though their friendship was fairly short, it lasted for about 6 months while he was in Ahmedabad. He was posted away in October of that year. He talks very warmly about his excitement of learning how to paint with watercolors. He'd never done that before. His excitement of painting and drawing Indian people in their Indian clothes, nothing like the clothes that they wore in Britain, but also the warmth that he had towards the family. And indeed, at the end of that time there, in October of 1943, once he knows he's been reposted, Kelkar rushes to meet him and takes him back to the family, and he's given cakes for the journey, and they express their true love of each other. And this is a delightful story. And thankfully, we have this evidence coming from this book. Now, I remember you telling us that before Clive went to India, he promised that he would come back and teach you how to paint.
That's right, yeah.
Now, tragically, 6 months after leaving Ahmedabad, he was killed in the front. He was posted to Burma and in fighting against the Japanese fascists, and so never managed to fulfill his promise.
No.
Now, I also remember you telling me about Noreen, my grandmother, your mother, his wife, taking you to the cinema from school and breaking that news to you, which must have been absolutely devastating.
I'm not surprised.
No, and I remember you talking about the resolve you had to paint, and I wonder whether you could tell us a little bit about how you achieved that.
I wanted to learn how to do the techniques. He followed the techniques of the Renaissance, and I went and copied in the National Gallery where he had. And that's how he learned how to do it. And I decided to learn how to do it.
Indeed, so you went to the Slade.
Yeah, and then I copied in the National Gallery.
Yes, and you've been, well, you don't paint now, unfortunately. You've gone blind in one eye, but you were painting until the age of 90.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is a long career, and it's a delight to think that she carried on the passion that Clive had for such a long time.
That's right.
Now, we are in a room here filming this, which is filled with the pictures of Clive's. painted from all sorts of places. But unfortunately, we only have one picture that relates back to his time in India. So this picture has been hanging in our house as long as I can remember. It is as I said, it was the only piece of work that we have that came back from India. Of course, when Clive was in India, he went there as a soldier. He didn't go as an artist. He had no art materials. He managed to get some watercolour. He clearly couldn't get oils, which is his preferred medium. And he also didn't have any watercolour paper. So ingeniously, he took lots of white paper bags from the shop, maybe, and glued them together to create a canvas, and then drew this delightful drawing from sketches of the different members of the family. Kelkar, Chitra, his wife, and Shobha, their young daughter, among others in the family. If you look closely, you can see the serrations on the pieces of paper where they're glued together. And this just adds a sense of joy and whimsy to a beautiful family scene. Here is a selection of the paintings that are in Rosa's living room. Paintings that were done during the 30s and early 40s before he went to India. Often pictures of the countryside, but also of political statements in London. And then finally, we see a self-portrait of Clive. So following in the footsteps of her father, Rosa went to art college in 1949 at the age of 16. She went to the Camberwell School of Art and then on to the Slade, where Clive had studied also. The first picture we want to highlight is a picture of her mother, Noreen, of Clive's wife. This was a picture done when Noreen was 69. The picture to the right was painted in loving memory of Noreen Branson. Noreen died at the age of 93 in 2003, and this was Rosa's response. You can see the obituary in the paper, you can see the gravestones, including Clive and other relations that had died earlier. And as a nod to family, there is a picture of Isolde, her granddaughter. So while Noreen was alive, she vehemently didn't want to go to Burma to see where Clive had been buried. So once she died in 2003, the family organised to take Rosa there. And as a result, Rosa painted this picture of War and Peace. Again, including the family, this is her grandson Joel, who is setting free doves. But clearly, the war part is the bit that we're most interested here. This part here is taken from a picture that was painted by Clive. In the spirit of what Clive did, you learn by copying the great artist. She copied a picture of her father's in the Tate Gallery and included it in the picture. Pictures of Hiroshima, the terrors of war. But in the end, she has a portrait of her father as she remembers him, a poem she wrote for him, and a picture of the Burma War Cemetery where he was laid to rest.